Death has put flies and strangers to our house. They buzz around in the front room while the rest of us wait in the kitchen. I sat at the table surrounded by a wall of bodies clad in uniforms which towers over me. Father would have frowned at receiving visitors in the kitchen, but we never had visitors until now, and they're not really visitors anyway. Father on the frayed rug in the front room, with her, red crawling on the floorboard, oozing between the slit of my fingers. So many people, and all we have to share is our silences until the scream of the kettle interrupts us. I look at them, and I'm the tide, rising and ebbing, in and out between the kitchen and the front room, right now and last night, real and not real. Can they spot the moments when I'm not really here? Along the cluster of square shoulders and stocky bodies, a female officer fusses about, the perfect coil of her chignon set low on the nape of her neck, perfectly still as she ransacks our cupboards. A shiny badge, but for less breaths, labels her as officer apprentice. The rest of them, all men, are gathered around with their hands clasped behind their back or tucked inside their crossed arms. The mainland isn't so different from how things are around here. Women make the drinks and life convenient for men. They'd even have to ask her. Behind Officer Apprentice, the window frames the old oak tree in the back garden. In front of it, a magpie hops on the grass, followed by another. Their beak spears and shreds something on the ground. I concentrate on them, on the tree, on the forest behind, anything to stop my mind wandering to the other side of the closed door, down the hallway to the front room. Father on his belly and her. I can't say the word. It burns just to think of it, of her. Officer Apprentice distributes drinks, including one which he places on the table in front of me. Thanks are muttered, throats are cleared, and then their study of me resumes. Darting glances land in my direction, squinting faces all around. Do they see the girl, or just the blood she's caked in? Something's broken, something rattling inside me. Can they hear it too? Maybe they're just curious about this place where they know they aren't welcome. They had to leave their cars and flashing lights behind to come here. Their yellow police tape around the entrance looks like an anachronism, when really it is us who are out of sync with modern society. Their presence spells what's happened here. I can imagine the news sneaking out through the front door, making its way out, roaming down the corridors of New Haven, the words carried by many different voices, whispered and gasped and stuttered. Father Haywood and his wife are dead, murdered. Who would do that? Who? On an island where we all know and trust each other. Tendrils of milk dissolved into my tea, turning the dark brew into a soft beige. Father hated Wick tea, or any other Wicknesses for that matter. Or did he like his tea milky? Before I can find a definitive answer, the screen door groans and Mrs. McKinley's voice fills the room. She waded through the masses of officers like Moses parting the Red Sea. She's all elbows and determination. Poor child! She clasps her hands around mine while she looks at me with puffy eyes rimmed with pink. They widen as she takes in the blood spattered on my clothes, smudged on my face. Are you all right? Her voice are met by my prolonged silence. When it becomes too heavy, she shatters it. Please, Abigail, say something. Are you hurt? She ain't hurt, says one of the officers, but she hasn't said a word since we arrived. Where are Matthew and Jacob? She doesn't seem to believe the officer, or maybe she thinks my muteness is reserved for the outsiders. Abigail, answer me, where are your brothers? They're safe too, The officer steps in when I fail to respond again. They're sleeping upstairs. What are you doing? A large officer shifts his mass, blocking the sun and Mrs. McKinley's way. She squares her shoulders, the way she always does before slinging bales of laundry. Children should not stay in this house, not with their parents. Are you family? The Blessed Crimson Cross community is one family. Well, you can't get through. The scene hasn't been cleared yet. The officer throws a quick glance at to whom, as assume, is in charge. There's always one. One head with a tuft of grey hair by the window nods. Okay, follow me, the officer sighs, opening the kitchen door. As it opens, an overpowering, almost painful smell slithers into the room, metallic and rotten. A more potent version of the smell that clings to my clothes and hair. Her face swims back in front of my eyes. I'll be right back, Abigail. Just going to get the twins, and then we'll all go back to New Haven. I listen to her exchange, eyes still fixed on the cup, the milk having completely dissolved, fused with the tea, the steam still rising. The sheen of porcelain catches the low light streaming from the window. If only I could just touch it, press my fingertips against the heat of the white glaze until the reality is impossible to bear, the burning truth of the mug. If only I could touch it, I would know. But Mrs. McKinley still shackles my wrist with her hands, skin raw and calloused from her life here, from her willing servitude to this community. That tea, is it for me, or is it one of his tricks? Is there, my voice croaks from the dryness of my throat, is there a mug of tea in front of me? Howard leaves them speechless. A peculiar question for them, but they aren't used to have this housework. His house. It isn't really what I wanted to ask, but it's the only word I have in my mouth right now. What I really want to know, is it me? Did I kill them?